A trillion parameter AI model, free, made in China, and almost immediately the White House was accusing them of stealing it. That actually happened, and it's barely about AI. It's about something way bigger changing hands. The hook. Here's the whole idea up front. Every empire has a center. Money flows there, talent flows there, technology flows there. Everybody else just plugs in. For the last 80 years, that center was America. And for the first time since the Cold War, another country found a way to weaken that. Not with tanks, not with tariffs, but by giving away for free the exact thing America built its entire empire on selling. By the end of this video, you'll get why a free Chinese chatbot is scaring Washington more than any weapon test, and why the fight over it is really a fight over who runs the next 100 years. The wheel. Picture the world as a giant wheel. For decades, almost every spoke on that wheel points to one hub, the United States. Data flows in, engineers flow in from India, from Poland, from China itself. Startups everywhere chase funding from the same handful of American cities. Even the money follows the pattern. Everyone needs dollars. Everyone wants a piece of American tech stock. And the deal is simple. Even if nobody says it out loud, plug into the hub and you get the best technology on the planet. In return, you depend on the hub. You pay for that, one way or another, forever. That's just what being the center means. It's not new, it's how empires have always worked. So when people talk about the AI race, what they usually mean is whoever builds the best model keeps that wheel spinning around them. China tried something nobody expected. Instead of trying to outbuild the hub, they started handing out spokes for free. They didn't try to build a taller wall. They just stopped charging admission. The moment everything flipped. Here's an image that will make this click instantly. Imagine Apple waking up one day and just publishing the entire iPhone design, free for anyone, anywhere to copy and sell. Or Microsoft handing out Windows for nothing, forever, to every country on earth. But there's a catch. The model itself is free. The computing power to actually run and fine-tune it isn't. Downloading a 3 trillion parameter model without hundreds of millions of dollars in chips to use it is like getting a free Ferrari engine with no chassis to put it in. That's basically what this felt like inside American AI labs. Start with January 2025. A little-known Chinese lab called DeepSeek drops a model called R1, and it performs close to the American frontier, trained reportedly for a few $1 million instead of billions. Wall Street wiped out real money in a single day over this. That was round one. Round 2. A Chinese startup called Moonshot releases Kimi, first version mid 2025, a trillion parameters, totally open, free to download and run yourself. Then they just kept shipping new versions every few months. Within a year, their newest model, the largest open release ever put out at nearly 3 trillion parameters, was matching or slightly edging out American frontier systems on several popular benchmarks, though experts caution those benchmarks are often saturated, and on the hardest, longest reasoning tasks, the American closed source leaders still hold an edge. Now, here's the part people miss, and it's not the scoreboard. Once software is free, every single person who downloads it becomes a distributor. Every engineer who grabs the model, tweaks it, builds on it, becomes another spoke on China's wheel instead of America's. You're not just releasing a product, you're releasing a million tiny recruiters for your version of the technology. That's why open beats closed so fast. It doesn't spread through marketing, it spreads through use. And here's the collision. American AI companies have bet hundreds of billions of dollars, the biggest pile of corporate capital in history, on one assumption that the best AI would always sit behind a subscription and a login. That's how they planned to pay all that money back. China just proved you don't need that. And they're handing it out specifically to the people who could never have afforded the American version anyway. That's not just a good product launch, that's a direct hit on an entire industry's business plan. Washington panics, then splits in half. Watch what happens next because it tells you everything about who this stuff actually serves. The White House's top tech policy guy goes public accusing the Chinese lab of massive distillation, basically secretly copying American AI outputs to train their own. Anthropic makes a similar claim. The Chinese company denies it. Nobody's actually proven it either way. The same accusation got thrown at DeepSeek back in January 2025, and that one never got settled either. So, what did OpenAI's president say when asked point blank? Just that it's a good model, no accusations. Then something wild happens. About 200 American AI startups, small players, not the giants, sent a joint letter to the White House. Their message? Please don't ban us from using these Chinese open models. If you do, a lot of us don't survive. And then Nvidia's own CEO goes on record saying American companies should be allowed to use Chinese models, full stop. So here's the actual divide, and it's not America versus China. It's the two or three giant companies that already spend the money trying to lock the door against basically everyone else, including their own government's chip supplier, who all benefit from that door staying open. Notice something too. The loudest hawkish talk about China is coming from exactly the companies that would make the most money if Chinese competitors got banned. Worth remembering next time you see one of those headlines. Beijing's pitch to everyone else. While Washington argues with itself, China's doing something smarter. It's not just handing out free models, it's telling a story about them. China's top leadership has stood on stage at their biggest AI conference and pushed the world to share this technology instead of hoarding it. Dozens of countries, including Russia, Pakistan, Indonesia, have signed onto a new China based organization built to coordinate AI policy outside of American influence. Thousands of free training spots pledged to developing countries. To be clear though, America still holds the physical keys to the kingdom. Export controls on the machines that make advanced chips, from companies like ASML and TSMC, mean the US can still throttle the silicon that runs the next generation of these models. Software is free, silicon is scarce. Is this charity? No. It's state subsidized strategic dumping. Beijing can absorb billions in research and development losses that no Western public company could survive, specifically to buy geopolitical influence. It's the same playbook China's already run with cheap infrastructure, cheap construction gear, $10,000 electric cars. Take something the West prices out of reach for most of the planet and hand a cheaper version to everyone the West stopped paying attention to. Some analysts think China could quietly tighten access later, once the world's infrastructure is already built on its code. But charity or strategy, the effect right now is the same. It's giving most of the planet an alternative to American technology for the first time in this entire race. America's own goal. Here's where it gets almost embarrassing, and it loops right back to that wheel from the start of the video. America's biggest advantage was never really the chips, it wasn't even the money. It was that the smartest engineers on Earth wanted to move there. That's what actually built Silicon Valley. Decades of talent from India, China, and other countries choosing America over everywhere else. Then the US slapped a massive new fee on the visa category that brought a lot of that talent in. Six figures per application. Business leaders warned it would push top engineers toward other countries. Within months, applications dropped by close to 40%. A court eventually struck the fee down, but the reputational damage was already done. The signal that America was closing its doors had already reached a generation of foreign engineers deciding where to build their career next. And here's the twist. Some of the people behind China's most competitive AI models are engineers who trained and worked in the US and went home. So if that one advantage erodes, if the smartest people stop automatically choosing the American hub, every other advantage gets weaker too. That's not a side story. That's the wheel losing spokes. It's bigger than AI. And this pattern isn't just showing up in AI. Around the same time, a top Pentagon official told allied nations bluntly that access to American military tech is a privilege, not a right, and the pushback came from everywhere, including a sharp response out of Turkey about building its own path forward. A US nuclear deal with Saudi Arabia raised the same alarm from a totally different angle. Different topics, same signal. American guarantees are getting more conditional, and everyone downstream is quietly building a plan B. So the 20th century got fought over who controlled oil. The 21st might get fought over who controls intelligence. And for the first time in decades, the US isn't the only country trying to be the center of the world. That's the thing worth watching. Not is China ahead, but who gets to be the hub and who decides. See you in the next video.